You could love it or not, I still go to the top. I bust out of the pot.
While in Atlanta, James Wade and Malachi formed the hip-hop duo ATLA. They recorded a full-length album together, which included collaborations with both Vince and KP. Vince decided not to continue on the journey. KP, dreading the impending winter, jumped on a Greyhound bus to Florida.
Dollar signs on the mind, organize an enterprise, eyes on the finish line. Timing is everything. Warriors energy roll with like-minded company. Mind stuck on making green, feed the family, not just bloodline. Love mine and ride till it come time to die. Ain't slept in 6 minutes, I'm up all the time. Been near death more than a couple of times.
Turn around, the bus and the van base are here in Virginia on a beautiful farm. It took us like 12 hours yesterday, and it's Thanksgiving Day.
I cannot wait to put away some of that turkey, man. It's been cold. It's been good. We've been getting a lot done in Atlanta, making a lot of connections, and I'm about a quarter shaved right now.
What happened? Why'd you stop?
The clippers ran out of battery, like they usually do.
Everything I do, try to push the limit on.
He don't know how to go on a walk. That boy too lazy.
Watch him walk the bike back up here.
Yeah.
My ancestors were here and founded this country, and they all felt that the British Empire was not what we wanted to repeat. And they believed in a republic, as I do, rather than an empire. And we've walked away from our anti-imperial founding tradition. We've substituted a very imperial foreign policy now, where we're out telling the world at gunpoint what to do.
So tell me about this wall.
Symbol of the empire. We bring stones back from all over the world to the world center. And the world center is the heart of the empire. These stones came from the island of Flores in Indonesia. And they were rounded by Neolithic man 5,000 years or more ago. It's all about being in search of one's DNA. Your true voice, your authentic voice, you know, is found along your DNA default line. That's where to find it. This is a celebration of ancestors. Material world, you're in the spirit world. It's one or the other. And the way to get to the spirit world is through the material world. Through the physical, through the stone and the mountains, the physical world.
We're at the home of Pierre Spray, Maple Shade Record. His recordings are supposed to be the closest thing that you can get to sitting in the room with the musician.
Great to see you.
This is the microphone that Pierre has invented.
It's an unusual kind of microphone. It's called a pressure zone microphone. And what it is, it's a very tiny capsule with a diaphragm like any other microphone, except much tinier. Instead of facing the music, it faces the panel. And the great advantage is the microphone capsule is so tiny, it's extremely responsive, so you get kind of the lightest touch of the guitar. Both John and Rex have actually, through the course of the session, have been kind of adjusting their playing, and they're hearing that when they play a little quieter, they get much more nuances of the instruments, because they both have gorgeous instruments. They're real collector's item instruments.
How did you get into recording music? What were you doing before?
I was designing fighter airplanes. I was one of 3 guys that got the F-16 started. I basically headed up the technical side of the Air Force's design concept team for the A-10.
Otherwise known as?
The Warthog. And it was something that we did over the dead body of the Air Force. They really didn't want it. They wanted to fight their own war, go bomb the pee out of the enemy's hinterlands.
What do you think of the current war in Iraq?
Disgrace. Something that every American ought to be ashamed of. It has nothing to do with democracy, freedom, or anything else. It's a really sad, sad disgrace.
Is it hard, like morally, to know that you're doing something you love, but at the same time it's being used for something that you're so against?
What we were doing was something I was very much for. I mean, I still believe that the nation ought to be defended. But what was happening was slowly the Pentagon was getting more and more corrupted, more and more in the control of the military-industrial complex. Because of that, I just decided I didn't want to be part of that anymore.
How did you go from designing fighter jets to recording music?
I had a lot of friends in the jazz community here, and so I used to go and they'd let me come in with my little battery tape recorder, cassette recorder, and I got more and more interested. Got ambitious to make it sound better, and, started improving the equipment, fiddling with it a little.
And now how many CDs do you have out with Maple Shade?
Now, about 105. Once upon a time, this was just beautiful silver and blue plastic case, that lovely Mac styling. But we ripped all that off because it hurts the sound. These are heavy brass feet to drain vibration out of every piece of equipment down into the maple. Every step improves the sound. The entire chain is powered by battery except for the tape recorder itself. As soon as you plug into the AC line, you're vulnerable to noise. The downside, of course, is the batteries only last a few hours, then I have to solder up a new battery pack.
In the 20th century, film and media was essentially devoted to creating this world of fantasy. I think that the 21st century in media is going to be about smashing those illusions and democratizing the entire process. Hi. Welcome to the palindrome. Ingerum imus nocte et consumimur igni, which is the same backwards. Around we went in the night and consumed fire.
What is Lost Film Festival?
Essentially, it's a traveling performance that incorporates short films. I travel all over the world with a video projector, a DVD player, and a laptop. And I show films and tell stories and essentially contextualize a lot of the new radical media that's coming out of these various movements right now. Essentially, the idea behind the Lost Film Festival is to create an inclusive space in which everybody feels empowered to make their own media. We started Lost Film Festival in 1999, and since then, I must have done close to 1,000 shows. I've been all over the United States, Europe, South America. People from other countries are shocked that I'm showing such radical stuff because they were under the impression that in the US, people would be assassinated for this type of thing. In the US, I screened onto the front of the Crypt, which is Skull and Bones Clubhouse on the Yale University campus. And I also showed films in the barrios in Venezuela and showed a lot of these films that essentially document that there is a very strong resistance to the type of government that we currently have in the United States, and that there is a very, very active culture of dissent.
I've been to some of your screenings. Sometimes there's only like 10 people in a room. You do it with the same passion as if there were 100 people in the room. What is your goal with those few people that you reach at a time?
I basically don't look at my audience as a commodity. I look at them as individuals.
We're gonna get to New York in about 10 minutes. After 17 states, nearly 4,000 miles, and 3.5 months of travel. It's one of the most exciting days of my life. It started out 9, there's 4 of us left. Can I pay for the van behind me too? Oh, no coming?